Yo, guys, what's up? And welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 123. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zebrwolf. We're going to be discussing Deadpool 3, the teaser. We're going to be discussing Xmen 97 trailer. We're going to be discussing the Fantastic Four cast reveal and a couple of nerdy rumors from the last couple of weeks. This is the first cast in a while, so without further ado, here we go. Might be a long one. Strap in. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
How are you?
Getting over some weird sickness that I had with my esophagus, but like I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty
Good,
good.
good. Glad to hear. Glad to hear. Yeah, the weather's been kind of picking up here in the last kind of couple of days. Like it's actually really warm in my house. I think we need to like recalibrate the heating a little bit for the moment. But now in my country, it'll be fucking snowing in 2 weeks' time. So you can't bank on good weather for long over here. Yeah, as I kind of said in the intro, there's a lot to talk about. We haven't been live for a couple of weeks. And yeah, I think we should probably just dive straight in because I think, I've got about 5 or 6 big bullet points to talk about. You might have some stuff to talk about that I haven't even thought about. So I don't really want this going on for 3 hours. I feel sorry for people listening to it. So let's try and keep it as short as we possibly can. But before we get started, I presume you've seen the Deadpool teaser. I presume you've seen like the Fantastic Four castings and the Xmen trailer and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You're caught up. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yep.
Okay. Did you see Madam Web?
Of course I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you?
I haven't seen it. I haven't
my
seen
goodness.
it. And to be honest, I'm gonna drop a bomb here at the very beginning of the stream, but I don't think I'm gonna go see it. It sounds like it's potentially the worst comic book movie ever made. And with how expensive movies are now, I genuinely, like, my girlfriend has already said to me, I'm not going with you. I kind of don't want to go by myself. I don't even want to spend the money, man. Like, that's how bad it is, you know? It's really tough. It's really tough for me because I have a viewing streak. Anyone who's been listening to this cast, I've seen every single comic book movie that's been released for years. I've got a long kind of streak going. And it's really upsetting me that I am probably going to break the streak for this movie. But like, I've seen clips, it doesn't even make sense. I've seen it sounds cringy. I've heard that they're in the suits for like 20 seconds. Ugh, I don't know, man. I'm very curious. We'll get to it. I want to talk about the good shit first, and then we'll maybe hit the bad stuff after. But I'm very curious to see what you thought.
Sure thing.
Yeah, if you're new to the channel, guys, smash the like button, leave a subscription. We're live on all like Spotify, Apple Music, all that sort of stuff. So if you want to listen to us instead, by all means do. And shout out to anybody who's here watching us live. Right, Deadpool 3, the teaser, the most watched trailer of all time in the first 24 hours. It literally broke the record. Did you know that?
Yeah,
Did you hear about
it
that?
was
Like,
really cool.
It was insane. I was actually live over on Twitch. I was doing a gaming stream. I had just finished my playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2. I did the remaster.
Nice.
And literally, as I'm watching the credits, the trailer came up and I watched it live on my Twitch channel. I clipped it out and I actually put it up on this channel. So if you want to watch my live raw reaction to it, it's here on this channel. So check it out. But man, like, what did you think? Like, talk to me.
I'm actually kind of happy that they didn't show too much of what was going on. Like they kept it very ambiguous. And I really wish it wasn't anything to do with the TVA because I'm not really that happy about the whole TVA situation. I really didn't like Loki season 2. It was just like I felt like it was very much the same dribble that we've seen multiple times before, and I just don't understand the hype between that, man. Like so like when you show me the TVA, it's like, is this the pre Loki TVA? Is this post Loki TVA? What's going on here?
They're
Because if
very
it's
different. It's very different because I've seen a
yeah,
lot of people talk about this, and they're valid questions. The armor that they're wearing is different. The rooms look different. The interrogation rooms look different. Like, where's Owen Wilson? There's only supposed to be one TVA. So I saw some people in comments saying like, oh well, maybe it's a different timeline, a different TVA. It's like, well, that defeats the purpose. There's only meant to be one. So
yeah.
that doesn't make any sense. So, and then the fact that they're outside of time as well, I don't think you can say it's a different like timeline version, like, because there's only meant to be one. So I had kind of thought to myself, maybe these dudes that we see in this trailer are more kind of like the special forces of the TVA because like Wade is so powerful, he's immortal, blah blah blah. It's like they're not going to send guys who are going to go to be picking up Loki variants to go get Wade Wilson. Maybe he's like seen as like a multiversal threat because of like the fourth wall breaks and stuff like that. I'm trying to make sense of it in my head.
Yeah, I mean, originally that was supposed to be handed over to She-Hulk because she was one of the first people to actually break the fourth wall. But
Mhm.
I guess they wanted to go in a different direction on that because they didn't want to connect the two, which would have been awesome had they actually had the courtroom scenes that you see like in the comics where she's actually a lawyer for like I think a defendant based on like a crime that was committed due to time. And so they're at trial, and then they bring out like the retro canon, which is like
Yeah,
like a term for retcon.
yeah,
But the idea is that the sticks that they use in the TVA in live action are based on the retro canon or the retroactive canon. So
cool.
basically, if you get hit by that, you don't exist anymore in the comics or anybody's minds. So like
Wow.
there were a couple characters that were hit by that, which I think is really cool. The way that they do it in the live action, it's kind of odd, but like I guess that makes sense because like you really don't want to erase people unless you
Yeah.
really want to make it like a funny situation. You know what I mean? Like it's imagine the X-Men Origins Wolverine, and you have like the Wade Wilson from there getting hit with the retro cannon and just
Yeah.
get retconned out. Like, yeah, he
That'd be
didn't
cool.
exist. That would have
That
been
would be
so
cool.
fucking sick. But but they already did that in Deadpool too, so they can't necessarily do that again because that would be kind of a cop out. Um,
Yeah, I suppose unless they try and like fix what our version of Wade did when he was like kind of bouncing around fixing stuff. If they kind of get there a slight second before and like prune him before this version of Wade shoots him in the head,
so
maybe that.
yeah. So my question though is like, do you think that they based this movie on the fact that people thought it was hilarious at the end of Deadpool 2 that he was like going back in time into different like eras and just
I
killing versions of different movies?
That was, and like we've talked about this for a long time, but like these have been the rumors that have been around for ages. And we like I think I mentioned this back on the podcast, like one of the very first podcasts, that this was what this movie was going to be about. And yeah, like it looks like all the rumors were true. Like it's kind of funny because like I've been looking at a lot of like comment sections and stuff like that on different social media platforms, and like so many people in the comments are like, I was like, Shatterstar alive. He died in the second one and all this stuff. And it's like, there's so many people in the comments are just like, did you watch the after credit scene? Like, do you know what's happening here? Like, but like, yeah, it seems very obvious that the TVA are after him because of the cable tech. And then I think they arrest him, and kind of similar to what they did with Loki, he gets a deal like, come work for us and we'll let you off or whatever. And then I think his role in this movie is going to be going around maybe cleaning up variants or taking out different variants or destroying the Fox universe, like as in the trailer, which again was a rumor that we have seen confirmed, that the 20th Century Fox sign is destroyed in like what looks like the what's the name of the place where they go when they get pruned? I can't think of it right now.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I can't remember that either.
The void.
The Void, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like there's like a Fox void going on, and like Eliath is in the trailer as well. You see a very like small like snippet of him, so that would tell me if Eliath is alive, that this is before Loki season 1, because don't they kill Eliath to get to the end of time,
Uh,
or do they?
no, they manipulate him so that he can open the way to the
Okay,
end of
so
time.
he's still around, so okay,
Yes.
fair enough. But yeah, like it seems like, I don't know. Obviously, the place and time is quite confusing. I did hear rumors of Owen Wilson being in this film. I think I think he still will be. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Loki in this film as well. Maybe it is before he becomes the god of time or whatever the fuck he's called. Um, but yeah, man, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of like really small details in the trailer. I've seen many breakdowns of it, like, and there's like little hints to Patch on Madripoor, and there's like hints to scenes of the movie taking place during Age of Ultron and scenes of the movie taking place during Ragnarok. So like I think like Wade's going to bounce around throughout the 616. Maybe he's going to alter time. You might
Right.
get you might get him like intervening and changing the course of history for the MCU. Because like I'm not going to take credit for this, but during one of the breakdowns I watched, you see like Hulk's bed, for example, in Ragnarok, but it's not on Sakaar, or maybe it is on Sakaar, but it's a different Sakaar. So it's like maybe he intervened with Chris Hemsworth and changed Hemsworth's course. He could say something like, oh, I was just in the TVA and I saw your brother or something, and that maybe sends Thor on a different path, and then he doesn't actually, meet up with the Hulk on Sakaar. So I don't know, like this. I think it's going to go pretty deep. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw kind of like the way they did in, I can't remember, was it Spider-Man 2? Was it Spider-Man 2? Where they did like the whole Quentin Beck thing where they kind of went back and added people into certain scenes in previous movies in the MCU and stuff, like where they added him into Ultron as well, actually. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they went and kind of half shot new scenes and just dropped Wade into the middle of that battle at the start of Ultron, and then like had him maybe interact with Chris Evans, Captain America, which would be fucking sick. I'd love that. And because I think the two of them are really good friends at this stage, where they're like cameoing in each other's movies and stuff. So like it would fully make sense to me that Evans would show up for Ryan Reynolds' first movie in the MCU. It makes complete sense to me. I honestly at this point I'd be shocked if he wasn't in the movie.
I mean, that'd
Yeah,
be really fun, considering that, like, just like you said, I mean, it just seems like there's so many possibilities that I
yeah,
can't necessarily pick one out and just say like, "Yep, that's it." But at the
yeah.
same time, it kind of makes me wonder, are they going to address a lot of the things that have been like very touchy in terms of like what they've done in the MCU? Are they planning on like, are they really retconning things, or are they just trying to do chaos? Which that's what I originally wanted for Loki. So I would
Mhm.
love for this to just be a chaos run. Just literally
Yeah,
just go in, cause as much mayhem as possible, and then break everything. Which I think that would be fantastic. Like, I would love for it to be mostly failures. Like, he every time he goes into some area, he's supposed to do this one way, but he accidentally kills the wrong guy, or he doesn't do it in time and he kills someone else, or well, that's the same thing, or
yeah,
like he accidentally takes the wrong person to a different area, and then that creates an entire new like branch in the timeline. I would love
yeah.
for that to kind of like manifest as like, okay, which would mean that like it would have to be post Loki season 2, because if we don't, then it's all just going to get pruned, right?
Of course, yeah,
So like I would just love for it to just be all chaos in that sense. Like, just create new branches, and then have the tree grow immensely. And then they're
yeah.
like, ah, fuck. It's like,
I think you're right. I think that's where it's going. I think there's going to be one kind of last final burst of different timelines and stuff, and we're going to start these timelines that are going to appear are going to be like the Fox universe that we've seen. It's going to be like potentially, I don't know, like you could get Andrew and Toby back. You could start getting like the Punisher in and all this like crazy shit, and it just starts building everybody up, like
right.
Ghost Rider, everyone. Like, just
Dude,
start picking all the favorites.
yes. Well, like
Yeah,
imagine in the movie they do swaps.
yeah,
They
yeah,
just throw them in the other movie.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then it's
Like
just like you see like what it looks like on the other end.
yeah, I saw somebody talking about like potentially the void itself could be the beginning of Battle World too. So like maybe Wade is dropping people off at Battle World, and like because again, one of the rumors that we heard a long time ago was that like Tom Holland's Spider-Man was going to be like the 616 representative or whatever. So like
Mhm.
imagine that just before the 616 gets destroyed, Tom Holland is like the last one to get picked up after the events of Spider-Man 4, for example, and then it leads into Avengers 5. Like it just all seems to be kind of going that way. But I love it. Like, like the fact that, you could have Hugh Jackman, Tobey Maguire, Chris Evans, like Robert Downey Jr., all these people showing up for like Avengers 5 and 6, and it's mind blowing, bro. It's mind blowing. Like thoughts of it are just it'll be
Well,
just what we need.
it's definitely reaching this point though that like they need to hit like an emergency button and
I
Hopefully,
think it's all coming to I think it's all coming to an end, bro. I really do. I really do. I think this is going to be like the final hurrah, and then we're going into, and I know you hate this. I know we've talked about it and you hate it, but I think we're going to come to a final event, and then afterwards, whether it's Doom or Franklin Richards or somebody's going to create a new universe by the end, and it's going to be half kind of like, let's reboot whatever the fuck we want, let's keep whatever we want, and like, they'll just cherry pick all the best bits, and everything that failed, they'll be like, eraser out, boop, 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 let's start again. So it's kind of just that beautiful excuse to, bring across Tom Holland, bring across like Chris Hemsworth if he's going to stay, and anyone who wants to stay who's like the big hitters, and then just recast the rest. It seems like that's the way. And then they have that
yeah.
kind of fresh foot forward where it's like, "Oh, we know we've made some mistakes, but here we go. We're starting again. There's going to be a new Iron Man. There's going to be a new Captain America. Let's like kick it off again from the go. And oh, by the way, you love Tom Holland. He's still around. You love Chris Hemsworth. He'll always be Thor. It's like, yeah, I think
It,
that's how they fix it.
yeah, but I mean, that's just like and I agree. Like you hit the nail on the head. Like I'm not happy about that. Excuse me. I'm not happy about that because it's just it's not it's not plausible to me. It just doesn't seem like that should be the way to go. It's like to me personally, this is a heartbreaking situation to where they know that they had gold
Mhm.
and then they just pissed all over it
Oh yeah.
and just like immensely ruined what the momentum that they had. And they could have treated it as a proper roller coaster because we hit the peak, then we had the drop, and then we get off the ride, and now we're gonna get on a new ride, which was the next phase, right? But because they've employed so many people who wanted to be creative in their own works and didn't quite understand like the importance of like going by the source material, it ruined it. It ruined everything. And even if you're not going full on source material, which I know that the majority of the people didn't,
No.
you see homages to it in a proper way. Like you saw Iron Man 1. Like we all know that Iron Man 1 isn't exactly like that for one, but it's still good
Yeah.
because of how they conveyed each character, how they fleshed them out, how they brought them forward. They had good actors that could start the show in a proper way. And even the second and third movies, as much as most of you guys don't necessarily like the third movie, it's still not a bad movie. And we've talked about this many times before, Pinto. Like there's never been a quote unquote bad like Marvel movie. It's just been okay. Like it always
Yeah.
hits that bar of okay.
Yeah.
And so it's a little discouraging, man. I understand that people like reboots are a thing. Reboots can happen, remakes can happen. But like I'm kind of tired. Like I'm tired of that. We see that so often with the DC Comics movies. It's so heartbreaking because it's like you had such a good run. Like you had the Christopher Nolan like series of like The Dark Knight, and that's its own universe apparently. So
Mhm.
like that's not being touched whatsoever. You have like the Batman Year One, which was like the Batman with Robert Patterson. Is
Yeah.
that
That's
his name?
Elseworlds. That's it.
Yeah,
Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
Like
that's its own like Elseworlds universe, I think,
right.
because they've got
So
like
like
the Penguin show and so on.
right. So like it's amazing to me how much they're so well invested in trying to make a good Batman, but every other DC movie tends to like fall off short.
Yeah.
Now, I thought Man of Steel was pretty good. There were some points that were like, oh my god, really? Like Clark couldn't save his own like stepfather. Like really, like that bothered me so much because like I technically he's still alive in the comics, right? Like he and Martha were still alive for some time.
DC comics are, there's so much Elseworld stuff in DC. Like, so, I've read Superman comics where they're dead. I've read them where they're alive. I've read them where they're like, his birth parents are still alive somehow. Like there's like, I think DC comics is kind of,
Right.
there's so much Elseworld stuff, which is part of the reason why I love DC comics, because like, if they always do like the kind of standard run, which is like the timeline run, and then they do like Elseworld stories. And I always find that if like the timeline run is kind of boring, you can kind of just jump into loads of really cool Elseworld shit, like vampire shit, zombie shit. You know, there's like just so much shit going on,
Yeah, of
and
course.
that's why I love DC. But um,
It
yeah, like
just
yeah,
it just seems so weird that like we don't just push forward. You know, we can literally just count those as different strands of the timeline that we currently have and just move forward and just say like, okay, the multiversal wars is over, but the multiverse still exists. Let's just push forward with what we have and create a brand new cast. Like just not even go back cuz I don't want I'm tired of the nostalgia feeling of it, dude. Like
yeah,
I'm 32. I'm about to be 33. I honestly in my head, in my heart, I don't give a fuck about the past anymore. I want to go
yeah,
forward. I want to move forward. I want to progress. I want to grow. And the best way to grow is to have a new cast. So if you do so Marvel, if you do have a reboot, please just do an entirely new cast. Have them
yeah.
similar to what you've seen in the past. Try to find people that can convey the same situation that you've seen in the past that works so well and have story writers and screenwriters that actually give a shit about the source material and maybe tweak it a little bit here and there so that it's not too, you know, costly because I know that the majority of this is because of costs. You know, you can't
Yeah.
necessarily have like immense firefights and whatnot and without, you know, running out some other part of the movie that's probably going to be terrible, you know?
True, true. Do you think do you think they potentially like, because I'm only, as you're kind of talking about like time and stuff, like in 4 years' time, the MCU will be 20 years old. Like that's actually wild to think about. And with the kind of current release schedule, I think like if Secret Wars is going to happen in like 2027. So that's like very close to the 20-year mark. So I wonder, could they do like for a 20-year anniversary, do like a reboot and start again? Like it'd be a perfect kind of like time. It's like 20 years, guys. Let's kick it off again. Or do they like go into Ultimates or something? Maybe they do
Well,
like a cup. Maybe they do one phase of like, after Secret Wars, and then maybe they go into like an Ultimates universe, and then that could be like a full recast.
so that's the problem, Finto, is a lot of the source material that they're taking from is technically from the Ultimates.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
fair.
Ultimate Iron Man is technically a lot of Tony Stark. It's a mixture of classic and Ultimate Iron Man with Robert
Mm,
Downey Jr. And there you go. That's Tony Stark from the MCU. Like
yeah,
they really try to pick and choose from a lot of things in either the Ultimates or the classic. They don't really branch out any further than that, other
mhm,
than maybe like certain Earths, like whichever Earth had the hunger virus, which was for the Marvel zombies.
mhm.
Um, and it's like it makes it really tough. This is what I'm saying, Finto. Like they don't number any of the universes that we've been to already. They don't give us any sort of indication of where we've been, like how long we've been there, and at what point, like what number is this? Like why is this an effective universe? What is different from this? You know, there's literally universes in the comics where they're all animals.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's you could just give us a number. It makes it so much easier for us to converse about this because we're sitting here like I don't know, like do you think it's gonna be Ultimates? It's like, dude, that we've already done the Ultimates. So when they do the reboot, I mean, technically you can call it Ultimate MCU, but that also sounds a little pretentious. You
yeah.
know, like oh, it's gonna be better. And what if it's not?
True. Well, to be honest, like even if they did a full reboot, I don't think it'll ever be any. Like I think they've hit the golden age. Like it's done. Like I don't think we're ever going to get back to that. Like just the perfect build up to Infinity War and Endgame. Like I just don't think they'll ever be able to replicate it. Like I
It's
think everything that's on paper right now sounds amazing, and I think if they can do it right, I think they could potentially rival Infinity War by the time they get to Avengers 5 and Secret Wars. I don't know. They need to like really do it right, but I still just don't think it's ever going to be as powerful as it was around Infinity War. Like,
and that's fine, dude. Because like when you think about it, we have to have like some peaks here and there. Like we can't have all peaks
mm,
because then it'd just be nothing but mountains. There'd be no valleys. Like there,
true,
oh,
true.
that'd be so
It's just
crazy.
during like a cinematic universe, it kind of hits a little harder when there are such like diverse like peaks and falls. Like it's it seems at the moment it's neither day. Like, like there's no kind of middle ground really right now. Like, there's no, in my opinion, there's no real movies coming out right now that are like, it's like, yeah, that was cool, but it wasn't amazing. Like, it's either good or bad. Like, and like the Marvels, for example, like is just like terrible. And then I'm trying to think, like the last like MCU movie that blew me away was probably No Way Home. I can't really think of anything else. Like, I wasn't a fan of Guardians 3, wasn't a fan of Guardians 2, barely a fan of Guardians 1 either. But, I think even just if you look at like Captain Marvel 1, that movie did over $1 billion. And like that movie's, it's not a good movie, but that shows you how high the MCU was at the time. That, and even like Spider-Man 2, the Far From Home, like is kind of regarded in the fan base as a pretty bad movie. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a comfort movie for me, but I can see why a lot of people don't like it. And like that movie did like 1.1 billion. It's like one of Sony's like highest fucking grossing movies of all time. You know what I mean?
Dude, I really enjoyed it for the fact that they treated it so much like a comic.
Yeah.
If you think about it, during the time that they were kind of like reenacting the past scene where Tony Stark called it barf, like his
Yeah, yeah.
design, the design.
That was sick.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and like yes, the crowd was kind of laughing a little bit, and they were enjoying it, but they're like, okay, it's a contraption. On the other hand, Mysterio's like side when he told it was like everybody was laughing. I
Yeah,
was the laughing stock of the whole thing. I was ruined kind of situation because that's how a villain is. Like they see things from a different perspective, and it was so cool to see that. And that's why like there was that driven moment of like I am to steal these glasses and be given like the rights so that I can use my contraptions to the fullest extent. And he
yeah,
did. And it was fucking cool because then you get this like they enacted the spider sense so well in that movie. It was so fucking good, dude. Like you remember
yeah,
the scenes like where he's like, it's all the fear that's being driven into Spider-Man, all the things that are going on. He couldn't tell what was happening, but eventually he started listening to his spidey sense
yeah,
and things just started coming together. And I'm like, that's fucking Spider-Man. That's
yeah,
my boy right there. Like, that's such
yeah,
a good fucking movie because of that. And people don't see that. They just see it as like, oh, they went on a business trip or not a business trip. They went on a field trip to go
Europe.
vacation in Europe.
Yeah,
And it's like, no, dude, this is literally still him developing as a character. And
yeah,
so like, and so that's why it hits so much harder when we got to No Way Home, because then it's like, oh, he's still not fully developed because he hasn't had his origin story yet.
yeah.
We
We
all
watched
thought
an
he
origin
did.
story over a trilogy. Like it was genius. Like, and that's why I love No Way Home, because it's like by the end of it, you're like, oh, okay, so this is the Peter. Like, now he's broke, he's living in an apartment by himself, and blah blah blah. Like, it's like this is the Peter Parker that we know and love. Because like that was like such a big like thing for people in the MCU. It's like, oh, he's a little mini Tony Stark, and he's not really developing on his own. He's like just Tony's developing his suits and all that sort of stuff. And we're not really seeing how smart Peter Parker is and all this sort of stuff. And now it's like, okay, right, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I don't know. Like, I think there's a little poll on the chat there on thing, and it's like, is Deadpool going to save the MCU? 80% of people say yes, 20% say no. I'd love to know who said no. How dare you? But I genuinely think that this movie is going to be explosive. Just the fact that it did the biggest 24-hour numbers on YouTube ever, or whatever, or collectively overall media. I just really think it's going to be. I'm calling it now $2 billion movie. I really think so.
I hope so, man. Because
Yeah,
then
I
that
really
would
do.
that would show how much passion they put into this project, and
Oh
to
yeah,
show how much they listened to even the actors in this situation, because there were so many changes that they wanted to make, but Ryan Reynolds was like, no, you're not going to do that. And
yeah.
and it and but I mean, I don't know how much I really don't know how much power an actor has over, certain provisions, because they could say no all they want, but ultimately like the producers, the stakeholders and whatnot, like anybody that's involved has a portion of like what they want to say or what they
Oh yeah.
want to happen. So like it really depends.
Bro,
But Ryan Reynolds is such a strong person. Um,
They have to know, like 100% have to know that that movie is fully like in control in Ryan's hands and fully in control in Hugh's hands and like Sean Levy. Like he is like the three of them working together is just gold. And like I think, well, I don't know why I'm saying this, but like I think, Disney would be stupid to intervene. Now, they will they intervene? Probably. I don't think studios are giving directors final cut anymore. Like I don't think that exists anymore. Like the way you used to always have, you'd always hear like, well, the director's got final cut, so whatever he says goes into the final product, and that's what gets released. Those days are over. So and especially with Disney, because like we heard from like J.J. Abrams that that's what happened with like Episode 9. The movie that he handed in was completely different to what they actually showed. Like, and he was kind of like, this was not my cut. Like, so God, knocking on wood here. Knocking on wood. I hope that doesn't happen with this movie. The writer strikes happened as well during the creation of this film, and I know there was a lot of times where they were kind of forced to shoot what was written, like and Ryan is very much a kind of shoot off the hip kind of guy, like and he'll do like just lines off the top of his head and improv out the gills. And I just think like I hope that all the shit that they shot during the strikes and just before the strikes or whatever, I just hope all that worked out really well, because I don't know if they had time to go back and like redo stuff, because like the movie had only just finished filming in January, I believe, and it's coming out like 6-7 months later. So there's still a lot of obviously post-production work to be done on these movies, like CGI and all that sort of stuff. And like to be honest as well, like from the leaked set photos and everything that we saw, like it didn't look great, like I thought like the movie kind of looked a bit, I don't
bit
know,
gritty, like a bit kind of rough.
yeah, it just looked like it was being shot on the Disney stage, and it just kind of looked like like what Kenobi probably feels like, just a real kind of like closed in. But like the images in the trailer, like it all looks fucking fantastic. I let off a massive sigh of relief after I watched that trailer, just kind of thinking, okay, this feels like Deadpool, thank God, because like I was really fearful that Disney were gonna just Disney it, like and it just wasn't gonna feel like Deadpool. Like even when they kind of brought the more kind of cartoony looking suit to it, I was just like, oh, maybe this is not going to be as good. But to be fair, the trailer looks fantastic.
Oh, dude, I love that suit though. Like it's so fun.
No, it is, and it looks
It's
way better on camera than it did in like the behind the scenes stuff that I saw, because it kind of looked a bit goofy. It was like really bright red and stuff, and I was like, is this to hide blood and stuff? I don't really know, like, but I'm kind of happy that it looks as good as it does in the trailer, and it's gonna the final cut, the final product will even look better again.
right. I mean, to be honest though, like the only suit that I thought looked kind of goofy was Wolverine.
Again, we didn't really get a good shot of it, but I think it will look good, like kind of final product. I think it'll look good, and we're getting many variants of Wolverine, which we've kind of even been hinted to already in the trailer.
I'm hoping
the fact that we saw Patch and stuff. Sick.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
And Patch definitely isn't Hugh Jackman as well. Definitely not. It's definitely going to be like Daniel Radcliffe or Taron Egerton or someone. I
want it to be Danny DeVito.
I would love Danny DeVito. I honestly, man, I think Ryan Reynolds sits on social media a lot. I think he's actually going to be listening to people's fan. He has to have seen memes of that before, and I would not be surprised if they got Danny DeVito in there to just do something ridiculous, like just him in his underwear with like the claws. Like I think it would be fucking fantastic.
Yeah. I'm on a side note, I'm really hoping that they do like the full on Wolverine with like the big shoulders and everything.
Yeah, like real short, stocky, like Bane looking, like kind of like comic accurate. Like he's supposed to be like what 5'6" or something in the comics.
He's pretty short, yeah.
He's like 5'6" or something. So that'd be really cool as well. I'd love that, because I know some people say that like oh well, Hugh Jackman isn't really comic accurate because like he's tall. It's like, calm down. He's like the greatest thing ever. Would you just stop? Like he's been Wolverine for 24 years. Like just cut the guy a fucking bit of slack, please.
And to be honest, like how much, like, do you really give a shit? Like the height, like all I give a shit about was like the character, like, and he does a really good job of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, we're 33 minutes already, or 34 minutes just talking about the first topic. I gotta move us on, because it's gonna turn into a 5-hour conversation. I cannot be here for 5 hours. Fantastic forecast. Talk to me. Yes, no, do you like it? Do you hate it? We can break it down one by one, because I think I'm kind of 50-50 with it at the moment, but talk to me. What do you think?
To be honest, I'm 50-50 as well. I really don't know these actors besides Pedro Pascal.
Well, I'd be worried if you didn't know Pedro.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah.
that's my main problem. I think Pedro's being overused. But go on, continue.
Yes, but that's exactly my point, dude. I was gonna say like he's kind of being overused a bit. It's
Yeah.
turning into the kind of like I can't remember what other actor that do we know that's been overused quite
Um.
often.
Yeah.
I was saying Johnny Depp, but like Johnny Depp hasn't really been in too many things. He kind of like he has great range though, so like I wouldn't pin him up on there. It has to be someone that we've seen so often that we're like, "Ah, fuck this guy." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and and I like Pedro Pascal, but don't really I don't really care for his role as Joel. I think he fit well, but it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
Um, I think that the way that they designed everything was pretty well done. But it wasn't like, oh my god. When I
Yeah.
saw when I saw the unbearable weight of massive talent,
Yeah, he was
that's
good. Yeah, he
yeah,
was
like
cool in that because he was very different in that. Yeah,
right.
but I know exactly what you're saying, and I fully agree. And I have the perfect example for you: The Rock. The Rock is the same in everything.
Yes. Oh my
So,
god.
like, I saw a really funny meme, and anybody who's listening to this, I'm sure you can just go and find this very easily on Google or whatever. But there's a picture of The Rock, and it's like four pictures of him, and it's like Adam's family sort of like split into different things. And it's like, this is The Rock in like 6 different movies. And it looks the exact same. He's wearing like a gray shirt. He's got the bald head, like no difference to his appearance whatsoever. And we talked about this during our review of Black Adam as well. I didn't think he was bad in Black Adam, but there's a part of you when you're watching that movie, you're just like, this is just The Rock. Like, it's not Black Adam. Whereas like they could have easily given him the hair piece, and I don't know if Black Adam has like a little kind of skinny tash. I'm trying to think. Maybe I'm
No,
mixing
I think
Sinestro or something.
he's pretty clean in the front.
Yeah, yeah, but like I've definitely read comics where he has like a beard and stuff like that. Like they could do
Yeah.
cool shit with him, just make The Rock look different. And I think that's kind of my main issue with Pedro as well. Now, to be fair, I had this exact same complaint during the casting of The Last of Us. I couldn't believe it. I was like, they've cast him as Joel. What the fuck? It was so weird to me. And when we came around to actually watching the show, I liked him. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
Was he
Of
the
course.
best Joel? Probably not. But did he perform like he's a fantastic actor. I cannot take that away from him. And I think he played his part perfectly, but I don't know if it was the perfect kind of adaptation of Joel. So and
I still to myself say that it should have been Gerard Butler.
could
I think that
he would have been unreal.
his
Fucking Hugh
his
Jackman would have been incredible.
oh, that would have been
Even
fun.
yeah, that would have been amazing. And if they got like little X-23 to be like, have you seen that picture? Like they looked exactly like them. Like that would have been so cool. Um, I also liked the dude who played like Jamie Lannister was one of the rumored ones as well, and like he would have done a really good job with it too. Anyway, look, to be honest, The Last of Us, I think they did a great job with it.
Yeah.
It was an almost perfect piece of art by the end of it. So I'm not gonna shit on Pedro's performance because I think they did knock it out of the park. It's just he wouldn't have been my first choice, and that's kind of where I am right now with him as Reed. There's been a couple of people getting thrown around for the role of Reed. Henry Cavill being one. The dude from that show, what's his name, Penn Bagley. Like he was one, and like he would have been brilliant. Even bringing back the original guy. I know, like the original one from the Fox, like 2005 maybe. Like he was
Oh,
great as
him.
well.
I loved
Like,
him.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love him too. Like those movies got so shit on, but the casting, like you can't, like the casting was perfect. Like if you think about it, if you think back to those movies, like the movies, okay, I loved them at the time. I was young and they were cool. Like, and Chris Evans was deadly as like Torch and everything. And it was really cool. Loved it. And like obviously, Jessica Alba was like incredible. Like so, for me, it was just like knock it out of the park. And as well, what was the name? The dude who got to play the thing to play Ben.
Is that Michael Chiklis?
Yes, yeah. So like it was just perfect, bro. Perfect. And this time around, it's kind of like, okay, Pedro, we know he can act, but he's just in everything right now, and it's just kind of like, ugh, they had to
Yeah.
get Pedro. It's like, oh no, Pedro's in the MCU now. You're kind of just like, fuck's sake, he's going to be in the MCU and Star Wars at the same time. It's kind of weird.
They're like really typecasting right now.
Yeah, like even like I kind of nearly would have preferred if they kept John Krasinski. Like, it's like, I don't know, like it's tough, man. It's really tough. But I do like again. He's going to put it up. He's going to put on an exceptional performance, I'm sure. And I
Of
suppose we
course.
kind of have to. We kind of have to trust in Marvel because, like, I struggle to think when the last time they put out a real like proper shit show of a casting. Like I can't really kind of think of any off the top of my head. Like I don't know if you can, like, but there's no times where I've gone, Jesus Marvel, what the fuck were you thinking hiring this person for this role? Like it's even like I don't know, like the worst person you can think of, like the worst character you can think of, they're still kind of casted well, So I don't know, like I think trust the process, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um, I like Vanessa Kirby. I've seen her in one or two things. I know she's got a really great reputation. She's got the look of Sue as well. Like so, I've nothing. I no complaints about her. I like Joseph Quinn a lot as well. He was really good in Stranger Things as Eddie. I haven't really seen him in much else. He was in I think he was in like 2 episodes of like Game of Thrones back in the day.
Mhm.
I haven't really seen him in anything else. I've seen a lot of people kind of being petty and saying he's not really good enough looking for the Johnny Storm role. Like, if you think about it, the last 2 people to play him in live action have been Chris Evans and fucking Michael B. Jordan, like 2 of the best looking men in Hollywood. So, like, it's tough shoes to fill. And like the dude, while like, he's not a bad looking dude, like he's not like a heartthrob. And I think Johnny Storm should be a heartthrob because like that's kind of how you warm up to him, like because he is a dickhead, like and he's like a real like cocky motherfucker, and also it's kind of like you kind of need the
he exudes that like I'm beautiful, so deal with it kind of situation.
Yeah, so I could do whatever the fuck I want, sort of thing. Now I don't know, like maybe the dude, like because again the same thing happened with Will Porter, like he was like borderline ugly before the MCU, and then they turned him into like he looks like a Hemsworth now, so. You know what I mean? So maybe they'll do some magic with Joseph Quinn, and all the women will be going crazy. But honestly, like again, it's not a deal breaker for me. But I suppose it's kind of it's up in the air. We'll see how he gets on. And lastly, the casting for Ben Grimm. I'm gonna be real nerdy here, and like real nerdy and real nitpicky. But this guy's in the MCU already, and that kind of annoys me. Like he's the Punisher's guy in the chair in season 1. Like Disney have confirmed in the last couple of weeks that the Netflix shows are canon. They're up on Disney Plus now. They are on the timeline order, and they have been officially confirmed as being canon. So the dude who plays, I think his name is David in the show, he is the same dude who's playing the Thing now, and that kind of annoys me.
Well,
it's nitpicky as fuck. I know. Mahershala Ali has now got 2 roles as well, and that annoys me too. I said it at the start as well. It's like he was in fucking Luke Cage season 1. He was a villain, and now he's Blade. It doesn't make any sense. It's nitpicky as fuck. I understand. Cottonmouth
is dead, isn't he?
Yes, but still, it's the same character. It's the same actor playing 2 different roles. And like, it's not as if Blade has just popped out of nowhere. He's immortal. Like he's been around since the 20s. Like so. They were alive at the same time at one point.
I would love for that to be a thing where it's like, Cottonmouth dies and it's like, meanwhile, and you see
yeah. Maybe he had a twin brother, or it's like a descendant. It was like the way they did the Asian dude who's the principal in Homecoming. Everyone was like, oh, he was in the MCU already. He was in Captain America 1. He's one of like the army dudes. And then they actually wrote into the story that was his grandfather. And I was like, okay, that's actually clever. That's a clever way of doing it. So maybe they do it that way. Maybe like there's like maybe like Blade has like a human relative that kind of like, his family goes on, but he's a vampire or something. I don't know.
Well, the way I could see it is more so as a joke. Like they meet up with him. Luke Cage is like, you look familiar. It's like, motherfucker, I'm the only one of my own kind.
Yeah,
that's all you gotta do. Like that's all you gotta do. It'll get laughs. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I love him. He's incredible in The Bear. I'm probably gonna mess up his name. Was it Ebon Moss Buckridge or something? He's a fantastic. I love him in The Bear. He's like incredible. That show is one of my favorite shows of the last couple of years, and he just puts on an absolutely spectacular performance as Richie. And I loved him in Punisher season 1. So like we know this dude can act. He's cool. He's fully in my books. Yes, it's a yes from me. He's got a great voice. I think he'll be really cool as the Thing. He'll be pretty funny as well. He's a pretty comedic actor. I don't know how him and Joseph Quinn are going to bounce off each other. I'm sure they'll be great. So yeah, I don't know. Like really, when I think about it, the only person I have actual issue with is Pedro, and that's just because in the photo that was released, which is like in the thumbnail of this episode of the podcast, he just looks like Pedro standing there beside the rest of the cast. Like I get so taken out of it. Like he's got the Pedro tash and everything. He has a tiny bit of like a silver like tips on his sideburns. But it's like, let's change up his appearance. If you're gonna go with him, please change up his appearance.
Yeah, because
Like
it's
make him
not
look more like Reed in the comics, please.
yeah, because it's not too far from actually just being like, "Yep, that's Pedro Pascal right there." Like
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
all it
they've
is.
never fucked with his hair. Like they don't fuck with people's hair. I don't get it. I don't understand why they don't fuck with
Exactly.
people's hair.
Exactly, man. Like even like DC went as far as like, and I know this is kind of in some of the comics, like, but they went as far as like doing a Lex Luthor, and he wasn't bald until the very end of Justice League. Like, it's like I know there was like a version of him that like when he's young he had like long hair and stuff, but like it's like, come on, you're doing Lex Luthor, like shave the fucking head, and like it's the same kind of deal here. Like you're doing a dude like who looks nothing like his character in the comics. Like it's like give him the fucking wings and make him look like Reed. Shave the fucking tash, like, or let him grow a full beard or something. Do something like make Pedro look different. And I,
Dude,
I say this, I say this shit about The Rock all the time. Like, grow his fucking, like, give him a wig, like, grow
I'm a
the hair
fucking
out.
wig. Yeah.
Yeah, grow it out, CGI it on. Like, you know what I mean? We're good enough now. Like, you could do anything to change his appearance. Like,
But dude,
I'd love to see a Rock movie where like they CGI his body down and he's like smaller.
it's like
Like
I
Chris
think
Evans.
they kind of did that with they did a fat suit for him in like I think it was a movie between Kevin Hart and The Rock.
Oh,
Where
really? I haven't
he
seen it.
used to be heavy, like they had him heavyweight, and then now he's like a cop or something.
Okay.
Like so,
Yeah, I gotta
yeah,
see
it's
that.
yeah, you
The way
got to
they
check it
did,
out.
the way they shrunk Evans down for like Cap One. I'd love them
That
to do
was
that with The
great.
Rock. Yeah.
That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was 2011, bro. So like they've got no excuses.
Did they not do that for Black Adam? Because I thought he was just like
Yeah,
because he was like a slave, right?
they did like a scene from like when he was from like, well, like 5,000 years in the past, and he wasn't like as jacked as when he gets the powers. True, true. Still not good enough.
Right.
It's still not
Well,
good enough.
but dude, like I totally understand the same feeling. Like, but I what I love the most, and this is from the Batman with Robert Pattinson,
Mhm.
fucking
Colin
Penguin.
Farrell. Yeah,
Colin Farrell did
I
the
was just about to bring it up.
biggest
That's acting, bro.
transformation.
That is acting.
Yes.
Yeah. But
So
like
good.
again, there's no like, and again, like I understand like a lot of actors don't want to sit in like a makeup chair for 5 hours a day, and I fully understand that. But like, realistically now they can do CGI, or they can do like body doubles and CGI heads on top, and there's definitely technical ways around it today. And like we're moving more and more into an AI world as the days go on. Like I don't know if you saw that new AI that came out during the week. What is it called? Sona or something? It's like OpenAI's
Oh,
Sona. Oh,
dude.
bro, like it's terrifying the stuff that they're doing now. Do you know what I mean? I kind of want to buy it just to kind of fuck around with a few things. Like I'm like, make the Rock
Awesome.
Black Adam with hair or something like it. You just type that in and boom, we'll get like a comic accurate version of Black Adam. Like it's fucking wild, dude.
Even then, like video game design, like all the things that they've been working on so far. Like, have you seen the intro to fucking Helldivers? Helldivers 2, I mean.
No, I watched the trailer for it, but I haven't seen the intro. No.
Did you
Looks
see
like
that
real life.
guy's face? It looked like a real dude. I was like,
Yeah.
that looks like a guy you could see on the street somewhere.
Mm,
Fucking
yeah.
nuts.
Bro, like so some of the stuff, I'll send you a video after the stream, but like some of the stuff that this OpenAI thing is doing is terrifying. Like the one person's like, record somebody standing on a train and they're like recording with their phone out the window, and it looks like real life. Like, and even they go so far as to it goes through a tunnel and you can actually see the reflection of the person recording the video. And this is all AI generated. Like it
Yeah.
is terrifying, dude. I'd say Hollywood are shaking in their boots, man, because it's 10, 15 years. I think actors are going to be lucky if they can get like likeness deals where like, it's like use my face for something, like, because they won't be acting anymore. It'll be at best audio work, like, just voiceovers, because it'll
Dude,
all be AI.
dude, but the amount of money that it costs just to make those kind of movies, like to be completely fair, dude, if you can make a full on movie like that, like full on 3D animation with like perfect CG and AI generated like designs, it's immensely more powerful than live action because like it's so hard to do some of the things that you want to do
Oh yeah,
on screen. So like
100%.
a lot of the times, like I always go refer to this. Like if you ever go to the World of Warcraft like cinematics, any of the cinematics that you watch after I would say after the Burning Crusade, like from Wrath of the Lich King onward, they're at such a high value now that
Yeah.
my most memorable one was like the Battle for Azeroth, where you see like Sylvanas, they have like the close up of her, and you see like the facial hair, like the way that they do the eyebrows, the way that her eyes look when they have the close up, and you see like the black flames, like in like the redness and whatnot, and you see like the green skin. Whenever they touch themselves, you see the skin like it gets so immaculate at times, but that costs so fucking much. But imagine an MCU movie that just straight up does all of that. Just give us one. Like I would love that, but it would cost so fucking much.
Man, the scary part is that I think it's becoming like doable and cost effective. Like again, after you watch this video, I'm gonna send you. We'll have a conversation about it offline. But like, bro, it's fucking scary, dude. I'm really scared. um, let's move into X-Men animated stuff. I know you love animated stuff,
Oh,
so
I do.
I'm very curious. What are your thoughts on the X-Men '97 trailer? And I don't know.
So I
Did you see the thumbnail for this episode? Did you like
yeah,
what I did with the thumbnail?
yeah, it was
I'm
pretty
very
nice.
I'm
I
I'm
really
very
I like it.
I'm very proud of this thumbnail, man. I think it's one
Yeah.
of the best ones I've ever done because I don't know why it popped into my head today. I was like, oh, how I want to like try and make a thumbnail that's going to incorporate the three big topics that we're talking about on the podcast. I was like, how am I going to do that? And I was like, oh, I'll get the Fantastic Four photo, but I'll put it on the TV from the start of the trailer in the X-Men trailer, and then I'll just have Deadpool popping up and just kind of being like, whatever. But I was like, this is some of my best work, man.
I love it. I love it,
Like the
dude.
video. Yeah, talk to me. Talk to me.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do you think? Tell me all.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to give a quick shout out. Just anybody that's been watching for this amount of time, please like, subscribe. We'd love you for being here. We really appreciate it, and just help us grow so that we can continue ranting for you. Um,
Yeah, if you can hear this message, type the word poo into the chat into the comments below.
oh my goodness.
Then we'll know, man, who's actually listening. We'll know who's listening. You've been challenged. Uh, YouTube doesn't care if the comments are negative or positive. They just want comments. They want like interaction. They want analytics. That's all they care
Yeah.
about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But
Sorry,
anyways,
go on. Yeah, go into this trailer.
97.
Sorry.
Oh, dude, like I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm still kind of worried about what they're planning on doing because it's
Mhm.
just we're in such a modern time that like how many things are they going to have to do to tiptoe um around there's so much to be tiptoeing around. And I know it's X-Men 97, but
Yeah.
like it's based on the minds of the modern society as we have
Yes.
now. So in the
Yes.
2020s where it could be anything. Like we could end up with like something really fantastic, or we can end up with a trash fire. And it's so hard to tell because like they're doing exactly what's kind of happened in the comics before, which is that Charles dies and Magneto picks up the slack because he becomes the new leader of the X-Men. Because
You might know more than me. I need this question answered because I don't know. Again, I know it's shocking, but I haven't seen every episode of the X-Men 97 or the 92 cartoon. Does Charles actually die at the end? Because I was listening to a Den of Nerds stream and Josh was saying that he actually goes off into space and they're kind of maybe retconning it or maybe misleading us with the trailer because like it's at the end of the show, he doesn't actually die. He just goes off into space or something. So
it's
it's like,
possible. It's
yeah,
possible. It's been such a long time since I've watched it. I should have watched it beforehand because we knew it was coming up. But,
yeah,
yeah, I don't recall him dying, in the show. At the most, I think his body was taken over.
right, okay.
But, I mean, that's been a thing before, like, where, he actually did die, but his consciousness was transferred over to his, like, rel or his actual, like, brother who was, like, what's it called? A twin?
Yeah, because they did this in the Fox universe. Remember, he like blows up, like Jean blows him up or whatever, and then like he just randomly arrives again at the end of Days of Future Past or one of them, and like even Logan's like, "How is this possible?" And he's just like, "Oh well," he doesn't even explain it. They're just like, "Well, I could do loads of cool shit." Like it's kind of like, oh, okay, like how the fuck are you still alive? Yeah,
I
so
got
I don't know.
retconned.
Yeah, exactly. It's like shit. We need Sir Patrick back. I don't care how we do it. Just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've seen them like, there's a lot of like cool like TikToks being made about it, and you can see like one-to-one comparisons of like what they would look like in the 90s show and what they look like now, and like Rogue's appearance looks way different. Like, like she's like a completely different character by the looks of it, like, you know, and a lot of people are not happy with that because they seem to have like really tamed down on like the animations of it and stuff. And I think just a lot of people are a bit sour about that. And like if they're going to that extent, like what's the show going to be like? You know, I suppose it's, and this is back to what you were saying at the start. It's like, how do they treat a show that was very much in a different world? And you know, it's supposed to be 97. Like this was supposed to be released in 97, but it's like you can't make a show the same today like it would have
Yeah,
been made in 97.
exactly. And to reference that for Rogue, like yeah, like people are upset because they don't have their cake anymore.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they
Yeah.
can't eat their cake.
Yeah, she's fucking flat arsed and everything. And like, but like, even like, she just looks so different. Like, she doesn't look like, you know, like, this sounds ridiculous because it's a cartoon, but like, she like was real toned and everything. You could see like her six pack through her suit and everything. And like, she
Dude,
looked like a fucking badass. But now it's just like straight lines down. And it just, I don't know, man. It's like kind of lost its magic. Like,
we
you know,
we
I'm not
talked
gonna,
about we talked about this before, dude. Like it's okay that they're beautiful as long as as long as you make them badass and like act badass. We
yeah,
don't care. Like like at first, yeah, we're gonna be like, oh damn, she hot. But like at the same time, if she's fucking people up, then
yeah,
it's not so much more. It stops being, oh man, she's hot. It becomes more like, oh shit, she's fucking people up.
yeah,
And that's exactly what you need, because that's the whole point of like some of these characters is that they're so beautiful, but they can kill you. And that's literally Rogue. She can kill you. She can
yeah,
touch you and sap your life, take your abilities, and like drain you of like almost nothing if possible.
yeah,
It's so it like that's such a good character because she has to wear her gloves most of the time. And like it's so like it's just amazing how well they did that character, because like she's cursed. It's such a great power, but it's a curse.
yeah, yeah. Like again, I don't know the show, but in and out, and I don't really read Marvel comics too well. So like, you know, I only really know like the Fox movies. They'd be like kind of my Bible when it comes to the X-Men mostly, which I know is terrible, but even like the way they did her in the live action, like, you know, you feel your heart breaks for her because it's like she can't touch anybody, like she can't do anything. Like, and,
Yeah.
you know, she's young, she's just going to college for the first time, and it's like, you know, obviously like you want to be like fucking around in dorm rooms and shit and having fun, like, and
Yeah.
she can't do any of that. Like, so yeah, my heart always broke for her. Like, she seems like such a cooler character though in the episodes I've seen of the show, like the animation, like she's flying around and all, like, and it's like she never did any of that in live action.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is like most people don't realize that she can fly. Like
Yeah,
she is a durable person too. Like she can get beat up and still be good.
yeah,
And they don't portray that in the movies. They always, for some reason, like for a while they were portraying her as like this weak character. And it's
mm,
like she is absolutely not weak at all. She is a very powerful character that's like a very strong character in the entire like comic series. And that's why even in the animations, like you see her like six pack, that's because she's a fucking powerful character.
yeah.
And it's just it's
I
so
believe it.
fucking cool.
I believe it. Like I've seen bits and pieces, and yeah, she's just a completely different character. Because like even like you look at her and you're just like, oh, that's like Anna Paquin from the movies. It's like what? They're like two completely different people, like two completely different
So
characters.
it's
It's
so funny,
ridiculous.
dude.
Yeah,
It's my girlfriend told me about this like in True Blood. So
yeah,
there's a major difference between the book and the show. So in the book, the character Suki,
yeah,
which is played by Anna Paquin in the live action, um, Suki is very well endowed. She's like voluptuous. She's like curvy as hell, and she's like very like promiscuous at times, sounding like she's trying to like seduce at times.
hmm,
In the show, in the live action, it's like they even asked her the question. She's like, "Yeah, I understand. I'm not big chested." It's like, but she still did a
yeah,
damn good job. She played the character really well, and that's like,
yeah,
and that's the thing is like you got to play the character well. Like people will look past your design or your actual character, like your person,
yeah,
to see the character. If they just see the character, then you won. You succeeded. You were a fantastic actor. Congratulations. It-
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Um, like I saw a lot of people talking about like Wolverine's voice in the trailer, and I think I had kind of reading some comments and stuff. I'd heard that the actor who originally played him, I think it's the same dude, but he was like shot in the neck or something, and his voice is different now.
Ooh.
So I'm kind of like, if that is true, if that's like the reason why the voice sounds different, I will give the man a pass. Like he's been shot in the neck, he's still alive. Thank fuck. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna be like, ooh, that doesn't sound like the '92 version. Like he sounds a bit different. It doesn't sound right. Like I'm
Well,
not really gonna throw stones there at that. Like you know what I mean? Like fuck that.
did you listen to have you listened to Marge in the most recent like Simpsons episodes?
Man, I will never turn on an episode of Simpsons past episode like 300. Like they're fucking terrible. That show should have ended, like genuinely should have ended 15 years ago. Like
Yeah, I'm actually hearing
not good.
that it's kind of going back up. Like it hit its
Really?
dip, and it's I heard that people
Wow.
are starting to like it again.
Wow, that's crazy. I
But
think like I think The Simpsons like has, the way like a lot of people like say that they predict the future and all this sort of shit. Like I think that's a kind of like meme that's been put out there nearly by the Simpsons themselves, like just to kind of like entice people to come back in and watch more of it, just like because they might like talk about some shit that's gonna come true, like.
oh, of course.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like for me, like I loved like the first 10 seasons of The Simpsons were just incredible. Like as a child, I would just watch The Simpsons on repeat. Loved it. But yeah, like now I'm
I
just like, no, I wouldn't even sit through the intro of it anymore. Like I just don't even like the animation anymore either. Like it's weird, bro. It's weird.
I mean, I would even push it and say up to season 14. That's about as high as I go in terms of what I like.
Yeah.
Afterwards, it gets really screwed up because it's mostly like celebrity visits and
Yeah.
a lot of moral compass kind of episodes. Which, to be fair, there's a lot of that in the original show itself. It's just portrayed in a better way. Gives us a better story. I think it's just shoehorned a bit more like in the later seasons. But
Yeah. So I'm looking up while you're talking here. Sorry to interrupt, but the episode which I would consider as the last episode of The Simpsons, as I said, was episode 300, and that is season 14, episode 11. So yeah, I would
there you
watch
go.
anything.
There you
I would
go.
watch anything before that. Yeah. Honestly, like it's outrageous to say, but that episode had like Tony Hawk in it and fucking like Blink 182 were in it and stuff. And I kind of just thought like even the fact that like my heroes were in the show, it still wasn't great. And I'm just like, the show should probably end now, And then the fact that it's gone on for what nearly 20 seasons since that is just absolutely insane to me.
Well, going back to the voice actress for Marge, it's the same voice actress, but after so many seasons,
Yeah, I
people
can
are like,
imagine.
"What happened to her voice?" And it's literally like, "Dude, she got old.
Wear and
Like,
tear. Yeah.
she just got older. Like that's
Yeah.
it. Like her voice isn't the same because she's getting older."
Yeah, and
And
like it's a
so,
real I can't imagine that's the woman's voice. Like I'd say she's making it raspy, making it like weird and scratchy and stuff. Like imagine doing that for 30 years. Surprised she can say
it's
two
like smoking
words.
cigarettes.
Yeah. I'm surprised she can say two words. And like even have you seen like the girl who voices Bart? Like how can you
Yeah.
do that? How can you do that for 30 years?
Oh
That's
my god,
mental.
who voices Bart? Is it oh my god. Who does voice Bart?
I know her face, I just can't think of her
Oh,
name.
Nancy Cartwright. I love Nancy Cartwright. She's so fucking good though.
But again,
Uh,
like, could you imagine doing that voice for 30 years? Like it's crazy.
I mean, if she's still going strong though.
Yeah.
Oh man, so
Look,
good.
to go back to X-Men just before we move on, like I'm definitely gonna watch it. I thought the trailer was cool.
Yeah,
I'm very curious, and if it's like released weekly, I think it'll be easier for me to kind of just like drop in for 20, 30 minutes a week and watch an episode and talk about it here. And that's kind of it. If they
yeah.
release it all at once, it might be harder for me to go through because again, I'm not a massive fan of like if it was the '94 fucking Spider-Man cartoon that got revived now, that'd be a different ball game altogether now. I'd be massively excited for that because that was my Spidey Bible as a kid. Like that's where I learned all my shit about Spider-Man was the '94 cartoon. And I saw somebody put up like that logo today, and they put like '98 after it. They added Disney. They go, "You don't have the balls, guys. You won't do it. You won't do it." Like just trying to entice them to do like Spider-Man '98. Funny that I don't know I don't know how I naturally brought that up, but there's actually in the at the very start of the trailer for the X-Men, there's like a newspaper that floats across the screen. I
Mhm.
paused it on it just to read it, and up the very top left, it's like, "Is Spider-Man a mutant?" So, is that a little hint that maybe that version of Spider-Man that we love might appear, because those two universes did cross over all the time. Because those were originally like the X-Men episodes that I saw, was like when the X-Men would go to Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll
I'd
see.
love to see him. I'd love to see him in like that version of Mary Jane and all pop up. Because wasn't that how that show ended? He went off into the Spider-Verse looking for Mary Jane with Madam Web and all.
I believe so. Well, like it was it was a
Yonder.
Carnage. I thought it was a Carnage episode where he merged with Carnage for a bit, became like Spider
That was like
Carnage.
that was a different version of Peter, I think. That was like during the Spider-Verse episodes, like the Spider-Verse War or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I know they did like Secret Wars in that show as well. Like that show was so stacked, man. Oh my god, I love it. I love it so much, man. So incredible. Like they did Eddie Brock right, they did Carnage right. Like it was just all so fucking perfect. So
No, no,
good.
no,
Even like
no.
Jonah and everything.
It is the last episode. Spider-Man must face Spider Carnage alone in the world where Spider-Man is beloved by everyone. Like it's the finale.
Yeah.
So
I think the episode ends after Spider Carnage gets beaten, because I could have sworn Spider Carnage is like taken over by a different variant of Peter from a different universe, and they become Spider Carnage, just not like the original Peter, like the one that we follow for the whole show. It's a different Peter.
it's
pretty
just
sure.
we'd have to rewatch it, man, because it could be in a different spot.
I'm pretty fucking sure, because it's during like the last season is all about like the Spider Verse. That was where we saw the first kind of Spider Verse with Madam Web, bringing him in, and he's like the main Peter who's going to lead the team of Peters and stuff. And you get like the Iron Man, Spider Man, and all. Like, oh, it was fucking so good, man. I love it so much.
Well, because it's I mean, the episode's called Farewell Spider-Man.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he goes off with Madam Web at the very end to look for Mary Jane, who's gone missing in the multiverse or something. But how cool would it be if, like, by 98 he's back and he's found her or something, and then he comes into this show? That'd be so fucking sick, man. I'd love it. Anyway, speaking of Madam Web, let's transition into the Madam Web movie, live action,
man.
starring Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney.
So what happened to the other? Did the other women just not pay for their names to be like?
I don't know who
portrayed?
they are. Sorry, I don't know their names. I've never seen them in anything. Whereas I know who Dakota Johnson and I know who Sydney Sweeney are, so that's why I named them. But they're definitely the two bigger ones out of the four. But I think one of the girls I know are from a CW show, I think, back in the day, or she looks like a girl who was on the CW or something. But I cannot place them at all in any previous movies that I've seen anyway. Sure, they're very good actresses, but go on, tell me. I've seen it sitting on Rotten Tomatoes, 14%. It's got a 3 out of 10 on IMDb. It's being vastly regarded as the worst superhero movie ever made. Soup said that fucking Morbius was better. Talk to me.
Dude.
Tell me all.
Dude, I can't.
Are you going to defend this movie? Talk to me.
No.
Okay. Oh, thank God.
It's just
I thought we were
it's
going
hard
to have to end this conversation.
no, it's just so hard to kind of like express how much disappointment I have for this crew. Like,
Yeah.
they willingly created it's not even a superhero movie. Like, it really isn't. There's like one villain who has, powers, but
Yeah.
they're not superheroes. They are normal women, and cognitive abilities doesn't count as like a full-on superpower that you can. Yes, of course you can, like, cognitive precognitive abilities like premonitions and whatnot.
Mhm.
Like, those are great.
Yeah.
I mean, but people get that off, like, not all the time, but I would say like people get that sometimes. They get that feeling. It just
Mhm.
doesn't seem like that much of a viable thing to really like make into a power, and to be like, we're gonna run this through the entire movie and make it
Yeah.
like the main thing. Whereas like she can't fucking, oh my god, dude. Like, this is the most infuriating fucking movie ever. Like, she has literally no powers until the end, where for some reason it has to count.
Oh my God, she doesn't even have the powers for the whole movie.
No. I'm saying like she has the ability to essentially see into the future,
Yeah.
or see like, but she literally gains a new power at the very end of it.
Which is like spider powers, is it? Because
Fuck,
I've seen her like catch something in the trailer. It's like she has spider sense.
no, like it's hard to explain, man. It's like
That's
so
where you've seen it and you can't explain.
it's so fucked up, dude. Because like, okay, so here it is. So for spoilers for anybody listening, I don't give a fuck. It's this movie
No one's
sucks.
gonna no one's gonna see this movie, man.
Yeah.
It did 6 million in like the domestic opening day. Like that is like the
I,
worst box office I've ever heard of in my life. Come on,
dude,
sorry.
I went to go. I went to the theater. Guess how many people were there?
And your girlfriend. That was it.
Oh, my girlfriend didn't want to go.
You by
Like,
yourself.
it was me, but like there were 5 other people, 5 or
Yeah,
6. The place would like I could have put my legs up, like literally
yeah.
could have laid on
You
the
should
side
have.
and just yeah, I should have.
You should have had a nap.
No, I
Honestly,
would have missed the movie.
honestly, bro, like everything that I've heard has been just like people genuinely laughing at how bad it is. I hear the dialogue is painful. I hear the acting is terrible. The villain has like no kind of stakes whatsoever. He just kind of appears. I've heard all like this shit about like them like cracking jokes about Ben Parker. You don't want to get shot in Queens. And like they changed the with great power comes great responsibility and everything. Like they didn't even put the fucking catchphrase in there. It's
Oh
like,
no, they did.
but they
They
changed
told
it.
they changed it. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like so once you have those powers, you will understand the responsibilities behind them.
Oh, like man, like that is sacrilege. Like you cannot do something that's connected to Spider-Man and change the fucking catchphrase. Like you can't do that, man. I'm sorry. Like that's just outrageous. And like even like I saw somebody put up a TikTok and they were explaining the whole thing about Mary Parker and the fact that like, oh, that's like an unborn Peter. I'm like, who needs that explained to them? Like, are people
Dude,
going to see this movie? They don't know who the fuck Spider-Man
dude,
is? Like,
dude, dude, I'll tell you this, man. This movie thinks we're fucking idiots because they literally go into a baby shower and
yeah,
all the women are sitting there and they're like, ha 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 ha. So, have you thought of a name yet for your baby? It's like, yeah, I think I have. So, does anybody want to guess what it is? And it's like, is it Richard? No, silly. We're not going to make a junior. And
yeah,
it's like, what about you? And then Madam Web zones out for a bit and she's like, what the fuck? And then she's like, we're going to name him. And then you hear a pop
yeah.
and then it goes back in time. And then she's like, and it's like, oh, that's a silly name. Like, it's literally like, you guys are treating us like we're fucking kids. Like, we know that's Peter. We
Yeah.
understand that's Peter.
Yeah.
Can you not do this? Like,
Fucking
we're not.
Ben Parker is in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Or isn't he? Like, oh, bro, I don't know. Like, it's
Dude,
heartbreaking.
it's the most like you guys are idiots and we're gonna make you watch this movie because you paid for it kind of thing.
Yeah, it just feels like Sony are just trying to get cash out of a fan base that they think that they can drip dry and they can make all these movies and just be like people like me and you. It's like we're just gonna go and see anything that they put out, and I think that they hope that there's millions of people like me and you, but very evident right now there is not.
No,
Like this movie should have them crying because it is a massive failure. I even saw like Dakota Johnson saying that she hasn't seen the movie when she was like talking in her press releases.
she
Someone
couldn't
said,
even name the Spider-Man movies.
I think that was a joke. I kind of like her then I'll cut her some slack. I genuinely think she was joking when she was saying that because she comes across as having like real kind of dry, kind of, like kind of dumb humor. And I think, like it's like, oh, what's like name the Spider-Man movies, and she like says like just ridiculous shit as the answers. Like I think that was just her joking
I
around, to be
I,
honest.
I, I honestly think
I hope that's what it was.
I honestly
Maybe
think it was
Spider-Man.
genuine.
Yeah,
Because as much as I understand your plight and thinking that this would be a funny thing to kind of portray it as like, oh, she's just trying to be silly about it. She took a while to answer the question.
yeah.
Clearly she didn't know the names. Like this was and she tried to play it off. It's
I just put that's the worldwide gross.
how much did the movie cost?
I think they need 200 to break even.
They're fucked. They're so fucked.
51 million globally. Like that's the lowest box office in comic book history. Like genuinely in comic book history, lowest ever.
Their budget was 80 million. Okay, so
Yeah, they need
I
about
think
200 to break even, and
they're not going to break even until they get to the DVDs.
even then, to be
It's going to
honest,
take
man,
forever.
I'll say this out loud and publicly. I will be illegally downloading this movie if I even watch it. I will torrent it for free. I am not paying to watch this film ever. There's no way. I will not be disrespected by Sony by watching this movie. And it fucking disgusts me as well because they have 2 more movies coming out this year. Like, do you know what I mean? Like they watched all the dailies for this. They watched the final cut and Sony went, yeah, let's fucking release it. It's ready. Yeah, I think this is good. And the fact that like Dakota Johnson, she definitely saw the movie. Are you fucking joking? There's no way she didn't see it. And or like she at least watched like some fucking dailies and all this sort of shit. So the second the first trailer came out, she fired all of her managers and everything. Like she like was just like, this is ridiculous.
She moved to a different agency, basically.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailer on YouTube? Like it has like I think it has one of the highest like dislikes on YouTube, like ratio wise. I can't find it right now, but like say it has 100,000 likes, it has 300,000 dislikes.
It's because it's the biggest fucking lie that they've ever told.
It's shocking
in a commercial, like or in a trailer. The commercials lie to you. Like everything is lying to you. Like TikTok commercials have the Madam Web TikTok, and they're like, "What are 3 things you're excited to see for Madam Web?" And all 3, guess what they were, Finto?
The costumes.
Nope.
Them fighting. The girls fight. Nope. Like the girls as Spider-Women.
Nope. You're not going to get it, bro.
A Spider-Man, a Peter Parker, so anything.
Sydney Sweeney.
Of course.
Sydney Sweeney. And Sydney Sweeney.
And she's like barely in the movie.
She's in the movie, but it's like, it's not even plausible. It's the most like she has shut up and just stood there movie ever. Yeah. Like they made her like, she has no merit. She has no design for like, there's no design for this character. All 3 characters are assholes to each other. All 4 characters, when you include Dakota Johnson, are assholes to each other. They do the most random shit ever. In the middle of the entire movie, Dakota Johnson's character, Madam Web, like she goes, "Okay, I'm going to teach you guys how to do CPR," because she's a paramedic.
Hey, at least she looked good for the premiere, right?
Yeah, she looked good for the premiere, but when you see her in the movie, sorry, this is me being a guy. When you see her in the movie, she doesn't even look good.
Yeah, I've seen clips of her and like she's wearing glasses, she looks goofy and all. Like they're not even like really like using her. They're not utilizing her properly. I thought that like at least like the last half an hour of the movie will be them suiting up and them fighting the dude together. And I've heard what happens at the end. I've heard that like them in the suits and stuff is just a vision of the future. And it's like they don't even do it in the movie. It's like a 20-second clip of them like killing your man at the end. It's like, and that's why he goes back in time to kill them before they kill him in the future or some shit.
No. So let me explain this to you. So he's sleeping and then he has his nightmare visions of being killed by the 3 Spider-Women. That's your 20 seconds there, sort of like that's like 10 seconds because it keeps kind of panning back and forth between him like struggling in his sleep and then like showing them attacking him in his home, and then he pops like they throw him out the window like of a building and he falls to his death essentially, which to me is the most bullshit
too, right?
Yeah, but it's the most bullshit thing ever because later on in the movie he gets hit by a fucking truck. Like that's even worse.
Does he had spider powers though as well, right?
He like spider people powers, yeah.
Okay.
He's a spider person. He's not a Spider-Man, he's a spider person. It's so fucking bad, dude.
I kind of the premonition. My girlfriend, I was like, "Can we go see it, please?" Because I kind of want to just experience it because it's going to be so bad. Like I can't remember who was talking about this. I was only listening to it today, and it's like this movie could be so bad that it could turn into a bit of a cult classic because it's so bad. You know, when like movies cross that threshold of being so bad that they become good. I wonder, is this going to be one where people like in the future will sit down and watch it and actually laugh? I think I was watching Brett Cooper's The Comment Section, and she was like, put up a clip from the movie where it's like Dakota Johnson's running towards a car that's flipped or something, and then like she like you see her like go through the door, and then it cuts away for 1 second, and then a second later she's under the car on her back. So like the movie isn't even edited well. Like it's just terrible in every single aspect.
Well, the idea is that they were trying to get a person out because he was stuck to his seatbelt.
Mhm.
And like it's just like, to me, it's the dumbest thing you can do for, like, as a paramedic, because you should understand like the basics of standard fit, like you should understand the basics of physics.
Mhm.
That person is probably an additional weight that's being held, like holding the car down, because he's
Yeah,
much larger than than Dakota Johnson.
of
And
course.
so she stays in the car, and Ben pulls him out, and the moment they pull him out, there's not enough weight, and so the car fucking falls off the bridge, and she gets stuck in there. The doors close on her, and then it's fucked. Like, it's so fucking dumb, dude. And that's what awakens her powers. Is her falling in the water, and then the strands of whatever the fuck that is,
Oh my
the
god.
the fucking cum strands that are like bringing everything together, because it all comes together, you know. It
That's
just,
what she
it
said.
pulls her, like she gets saved, and then she all of a sudden she starts having like these moments of like, deja vu, because she's essentially like traveling back in time, which I didn't even realize was a fucking thing for a power for Madam Web, which is not, it's fucking precognition. It's literally just like being able to see things ahead of time, not just going back in time.
Oh,
Like,
bro.
it's so fucking infuriating. And dude, like it's one of those things where it's like, you guys don't give a fuck. You casted these women not knowing what kind of range they had, and you assume that they were going to do a good job. When Dakota Johnson can't say a single fucking line without me thinking, man, I am tired. Like,
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm so tired.
I've heard she like even like her interviews I come across as if she just doesn't give a fuck about this movie in a slightest. Like she knows it's a failure. Like, and just the fact that she's like, well, I haven't seen it myself, so I don't really know. Like someone was like, oh, like what's your favorite part of the movie or something? She's like, well, I haven't seen it. And it's like that is the biggest like PR like kind of like, well, if you don't like it, well, I haven't seen it, so that's why I'm talking about the movie now and I'm promoting it. Like the fucking studio are paying her to promote the movie. Like it's nothing to do with her like for the movie or anything. I
Right?
mean, like they had a premiere for this, which is wild as well. Obviously, the girls all look great, like walking down the red carpet in their spider dresses and stuff. But like Aquaman 2, I don't even think we spoke about this, but like I went to see Aquaman 2, and like the movie wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great.
I
It
honestly
wasn't like
forgot it released.
it wasn't bad, man. It actually wasn't bad. I enjoyed it more than the first one. I went to see it with a friend of mine who was home. He lives abroad and he came home for like the holidays and stuff. And we ended up going to see it together and we had a good laugh. Like, like there was some stupid bits in it, of course, but like movie wasn't bad. You know what I mean? But they didn't even have a premiere for that movie. Whereas like this movie gets a premiere, like, and again, just like Sony flushing money down the toilet, like, because
Dude, the advertising is so fucking atrocious. It's so
so bad.
abysmal. Dude, Pepsi Cola. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much Pepsi Cola. At the very end of the movie, they're at a Pepsi Cola factory.
Talk to
But
me
it
because
but it
I
doesn't make sense, because like they're like,
just blatant like
but
90s advertising, like just
it's like a,
throwing it in your face.
they said it's an explosive factory, but it kind of sounds like it's a fireworks factory, because like everything's just kind of shooting out. I don't get it. But they come out and it's like there's fireworks, but there's Pepsi Cola. So the factory has cola on one side and like fireworks on the other side. What is going on here?
Oh, bro, I don't like.
Dude,
Honestly, I want to move on from this topic, so I'm gonna ask you one more question about this movie, and then we're gonna move on because I can't even talk about it. That's how bad it is. Talk to me about, because I've heard this and I'm curious of your opinion, but apparently at the end of the movie, like it doesn't even make sense as to how she gets her suit, and then like by the end of it, she's blind just out of nowhere. Like, talk to me about this. Like, how did it happen? Apparently, like she
oh,
just gets the suit. And she's got like the big, like stupid, like
uh,
fucking Back to the Future style, like visor on or something. Like, it's
it's
like
so
how
bad. Dude,
how do they do
I
this?
can't.
Like,
Like, it's just okay. So let me premise that with how she got there. So essentially, all three women are dangling on a thread because they're stuck, they're about to fall off. And the dude's like, you can't save them all. You can't be everywhere at once. And then it
Are they
turns
even
out
in
she
their
had a
suits? They're not in their suits. Like they're just
nope.
like the normal girls. This is like present
Okay.
day. Yeah.
Okay, let me fix that for you, dude, because I didn't even tell you what this is. This is 10 years before they get the suits.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They
I heard that because again, some people were saying, and I think this was a bit of damage control put out by Sony, but I think like on day one, people were like, lower your expectations. They're only in the suits for 3 minutes, and then like I heard that it's like 3 minutes. Who the fuck said that? It's like 20 seconds. They're in the suits for like 20 seconds. You barely get a look at them.
barely. And it's
Yeah.
shitty camera angles, shitty design. It's like they're horrible designs, horrible costumes. I don't like them. I think that they really like shoehorned everything in the most inhospitable way. Like I don't feel loved in this movie.
Yeah.
I
I
feel
heard
like you're sitting on me.
I heard the Madam Web suit is so bad, like you wouldn't even see it on a CW show. Like that's how bad it was.
Her gloves look so bad, dude. Like it's just like she's like. All right, give me a sec.
Breathe, bro, breathe.
Okay, let's go back to the end. So, can't save everyone, right? And then all of a sudden, she goes, "Yeah, I can," in a way, and then she splits herself into like 4 people, like her, and then 3 apparitions that are somehow able to grab them. Because it's the cum strands that come out and manifest into her and pick up the women and put them in a safe spot, and so now they're all safe. And then the Pepsi Cola crashes onto Dakota Johnson's legs, essentially crippling her.
Oh my god!
And then like
That's how she gets the chair. I thought it was a different version of her. So they basically just turn her into like the OG Madam Web in the last minute of the movie.
It's almost as bad as like when Magneto was being shot at, and then one of the bullets just happened to hit fucking Professor Charles in the part of the spine that would ruin his fucking legs. Like that was so on point that made me laugh. But I love that movie, but that is such bullshit.
I never really kind of shat on that scene because like I'm just kind of like, nah, whatever. Like the movie's
like
so good I can forgive it. Like, but oh my god, man, I cannot believe that they do that in the movie. Because I did hear about her getting like the suit out of nowhere. It was really random. I didn't know she became paralyzed as well. That's even fucking funnier, man.
That's how she is in the comics. She's paralyzed and she also can't see.
Yeah, no, I know the character, like the original character from like the Spider-Man cartoons and stuff. I just didn't think this version of her was the same because I think didn't they do like a more up-to-date version of her where she's like slightly different? It's like a different variant or whatever. Where she's not in the chair and stuff.
It is a different variant in the comics, but they for some reason decided to pull back on that and just go like, oh, you know what? We're gonna go to the classic one. At the literally the very end. Letters crush her. Pepsi Cola is crushing her.
Oh, dude.
And fucking the dude who like is apparently supposed to be super strong also gets crushed, which is like, where did your powers go, dude? You can literally get out of this. Like he gets crushed and then he gets crushed again and like he falls out or like it kind of jettisons him out. And he literally falls to his death. No! And it's like, like, dude, you got hit by a truck. You've been hit by a car. You've been like you've been run over twice. You've been thrown out of shit. You like, how are you dead from being thrown out of a 2-story building? Like, bro, it's so bad, dude. They couldn't figure out how to kill him, so they had to do that. And then like she falls out. And she, like, he hits the ground. She misses the ground and hits into the river back to where she originally started. And then one of the fireworks was just like, I'm going to get this bitch. And fucking gets her right in the eyes.
No way.
Searing her eyes shut, essentially.
Oh my God. Man, that's grim. That's really grim. Man. I don't know if you saw the episode of the cast I did when you weren't around with the dude, the movie critic Sean. I don't know if you watched it, but He said it on the cast himself. He's like, I love everything so much. Like I kind of maybe talk a bit up too much. Like I beef shit up too much. Like it's like for him to give a bad review on something would be like the movie would have to be like truly awful. I watched his review of this movie and he shat all over it. I was like, okay, this has to be like the worst movie ever because he's the most positive person in the world. And I'm just like, if he's talking this much shit, I'm like, this has to be like the worst movie ever.
Right.
And from what you've told me today, man, I feel like I don't need to see it anymore, but I kind of want to see it just to kind of sit back and laugh. But I don't really want to spend money on it though. Like I'm really at that point where I'm just like, this does not deserve my money. Like, I don't want to pay Sony for this because I want this movie to fail so bad that Sony turn around and say, okay, we can never make a movie like this again. I really, really do. But they have two more, and this is to quote Josh from the Den and Herds, they have two more shit bullets in the chamber this year that are coming out. And they have two more in the chamber, bro. They're about to pop off fucking Craven, the human rights activist, and Venom 3. And the first two Venom movies are terrible as well. It's like, fuck.
Playing Russian roulette with the shit bullets. Who's gonna fire first?
It's honestly, dude, I am so upset with Sony. And what pisses me off so much as well is like we know their animated studio is putting out fire. They can't fail. And like the live action studio are just dickheads, man. I'm sorry. If anyone from Sony's listening, fuck you. I hate all of yous. You're fucking up Spider-Man so much. It's disgraceful. I hate
y'all are
so
fucking
much.
shite.
Yeah, you're dickheads, man. I can't stand them. Come and fight me. Can't stand it, man. I can't talk about Sony anymore. I have another topic about Sony, but I'm gonna leave it till next week. Fuck this. I can't talk about them anymore. One last thing before we go, because we're an hour and a half in, and it's nearly midnight here for me. Did you hear any rumors of Henry Cavill joining the MCU?
No, I did not.
It's only come out in the last couple of days, but Cavill apparently, according to some juicy insiders who usually get everything right, by the way, he has accepted a role in the MCU, and people are thinking that it's Captain Britain. Some people are thinking maybe it's Doom. Maybe he's going to go down the evil route. But what do you think, Cavill? I honestly, my feelings for Cavill. I love him. I think he was done dirty by DC. I think he deserves to be in a good like superhero franchise. If they put him into something like the Fantastic Four is Doom, like I would really love to see that. Let him go out and actually be in the MCU for 10 years. I think it'd be great. He deserves it. I really don't want him to be wasted. Like if they're going to do a Captain Britain thing, like give him a trilogy, let him be in the MCU for a while. I don't want them to do a thing where it's like, he's actually going to be a variant of fucking Wolverine or something. We're only going to see him for 10 minutes or something. I don't want that for him. I don't want a John Krasinski for Henry Cavill. I want him to actually be in the MCU for a while.
Right.
Yeah, so Captain Britain apparently is the big rumor. I don't really know much about Captain Britain. Is this just like an English version of Peggy Carter? It's like a male Peggy Carter. Like he's just like, does he have a shield like Peggy Carter and stuff? Is he basically just Captain America but Captain Britain instead?
I believe so. Because what was it? What was it? The lady Alexei was it Soviet soldier? I can't remember his name. From Black
Red Guardian.
Red Guardian. So it's like kind of like Red, like if that were the case, like it would be like a Red Guardian-esque, but Captain Britain actually holds a sword. He
oh, that's pretty cool. So he doesn't have a shield.
Not necessarily. I don't know too much about him, but I know he has Excalibur.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So like that would be a cool mashup because like you would see essentially like if they actually get Black Knight, go in and you have his sword, his black sword, then you have Excalibur, like have them fucking duel it out. That'd be crazy. But
yeah,
I think it'd be cool. I think Captain Britain would be a fun idea. And yes, I agree with you. I think that it would be massively cool to make like a series based on Captain Britain using Henry Cavill.
I just googled Captain Britain. Look at the first.
I know he's the first one that pops up.
The main man himself. Like, dude, that is fucking cool though. Like, could you imagine? That'd be sick.
I like how they kind of gave him like wrist guards. Like that must be an AI generated Captain Britain or something.
Oh, dude, like AI, like we can do anything now.
Oh yeah,
We could do it
but
all.
I mean, like it wouldn't be a bad idea. Because
Look at this.
Henry Cavill's British, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Like
I
everyone's
mean, why
like,
not,
give him his time, let him play his Bond. It's like it's his time,
dude?
and
Cavill as Bond would be the
it
fucking
would be
shit.
sick.
Like
Yeah,
I would love that.
yeah,
I think that would be great. But
yeah.
yeah, like Captain Britain,
It's
why
cool.
not? Doctor Doom, I think that would be great. Although I'm scared that like they'll underutilize him in a way where they kill him basically after one or two movies,
I
which
don't
would
know.
be
I feel like Doom's around for a while. I think Doom might be the actual next Thanos. Like, I really think so.
Doom
Um,
needs Doom needs to be Kingpin. Kingpin's been around for
basically,
so long. It's
yeah,
but he's such a good character because he's been around for so long. Like when you
yeah,
don't kill a villain and they're actually pretty good at their job, that's great. I think that they should go with the old style of casting to where like if the characters if the actor's bad or the character's bad or if they're done with the contract, then they kill them off. You know what I mean? Kind of run it
yeah,
out.
yeah,
Keep it going. But that because that's kind of what they did with Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, right? Like they were just finishing up their contract.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
But Evans,
So
this was said back in like 2020 that Evans was going to come back for two projects. Now, I really hope that one of the projects isn't going to be Deadpool 3, where he's in it for 10 minutes, like, because that would kind of suck. But I believe he is going to show up twice more. Secret
yeah,
Wars and probably Deadpool 3. But I would love to get him as what's his face? Nomad.
Galactus.
Nomad. Imagine him as Nomad. He
Galactus.
comes he comes back for like a mini series or something where he like has to return the stones or some shit, and then he becomes Nomad. And then we have like Sam Wilson as Captain America, and then Chris Evans comes back as Nomad. It'd be fucking sick, dude. I'd love it.
I
I
want
would love
Galactus just to make him the eater of worlds.
it. So, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about, but man, I think like I think we probably should end it here. Like we're coming up to an hour and 40, and I think
Yeah,
there's not a lot happening right now, movie wise and TV wise and stuff like that. Obviously, it's been a bit of a catch up podcast, which has been great. It's been fantastic to chat to you, but I have like three or four things that I want to talk about. So I'm thinking like maybe like to leave them till next week. And I don't know if we've any new content to talk about. When's House of the Dragon actually back? That should be very
dude,
soon, right?
I
Is it like
totally forgot about that.
I think it's like next week, bro. I think it's like honestly like going to be back very soon. So I think we're gonna have like House of the Dragon season 2 to talk about soon. Um, and oh my god, what else? Obviously, Xmen 97, I think, is soon as well. So there's a few bits coming up soon, but look, I think to be honest, next week we could probably do another cast similar to this one. We didn't even get a chance to talk about Echo yet. Did you watch Echo?
No, I
Okay,
quit.
that's
I
your
quit.
that's
I quit
that's
after 2 episodes.
oh wow, okay. Well, look, right, we'll leave it for thing. To
I'll
be
go
honest,
finish it. I'll go finish it.
it's only 5 episodes, bro. Like to be honest, episode 1 I thought was good. With Daredevil and stuff, I thought it was like kind of entertaining. Episode 2 was kind of shit, and then I think episodes 3 and 4 were pretty good. And then episode 5, they just dropped the ball. The season finale was shit. But 3 and 4, watch 3 and 4. They're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go back to it.
Yeah. No, it's 2 hours,
It,
I think you've been doing
it's it's sad. It's sad to hear myself go. I can do 5 episodes.
Yeah, yeah. I'm struggling to do 5 episodes here. It's like you've watched 1,000 episodes of fucking One Piece more than once.
dude. Dude, like Katie's in the 800 episodes. Like
Wow.
she's like catching up. She's in Whole
Wow.
Cake Island right now. We're gonna head into Wano pretty soon. Like we're almost
That's
there.
amazing.
Once we're all caught up, it's her game. She's gonna have me watch a ton of movies and a
Oh,
ton of shows.
you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, dude, I made a deal with her. I said, look, I have 2 propositions. One, you watch the entire thing with me, you steamroll it. We just watch this. We don't watch anything else. And
Yeah.
once you get all caught up and it turns into a weekly thing where we could just watch it on the weekly, I will watch whatever you want to watch for as long as you want to be to watch them.
Your bill
And
is coming due.
yeah, but the other proposition was that we can do a chunk here and then we'll watch something with you, but
Mm.
I also get to pick other animes for us to watch.
Oh,
And she's like,
I'm signing up for one.
yeah, she's like, I'm just gonna go with the one. I'm gonna steamroll it because I want you to watch so much stuff. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah,
And
love it.
she's doing great. Like we've been watching like 4 to 6 episodes a day.
Yeah. They're about 18 minutes. Were you saying? So it's like,
Roughly 18 to 20 minutes. Yeah.
it's not a crazy commitment, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember. The anime started on Netflix over here, but they started at like episode like over 1,000. So
Oh, weird.
yeah, so like it's like there's only like 5 episodes on Netflix listed over here, but it's like episode 1039. You know, it's where it starts. So it's obviously the
Yeah,
start of like the latest arc or something, is it?
yeah, they put you on Egghead, which like you wouldn't know what the fuck is going
Oh,
on at that point.
I didn't even press play, bro. I'm like, there's no point here. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's like jumping into season 7 of Supernatural and going, who are these guys? Like, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, why would I bother? Like, you know. All right, dude.
Exactly.
I appreciate you being here. It was great to have a chat with you. And anybody who's listening to us on a replay, if you're listening to us on Spotify and that sort of stuff, leave a like, leave a review, leave a comment below. Anything you can do to help us grow is great. If you're new to the channel, you know, drop a subscription. It's free, all that sort of stuff. And we'll catch you next week. Bye, guys.
Hey, everyone.